your kind of company.
Tonight on CTV3 News, a second suspect detained for the gruesome murder of Felix Martinez and his common-law wife Adelita Gillette. Belize confirms 5 cases of New World screwworm, including 1 in dog. And Prime Minister John Briceño aims for final term as elections loom, hails PUP's bright future. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025.
The New World screwworm is a serious threat to livestock, pets, wildlife, and even humans. It begins when a female fly lays her eggs in a wound or mucous membranes of a live, warm-blooded animal. These eggs hatch into larvae that burrow into the flesh and feed on living tissue, causing severe damage if left untreated.
Monitoring your animals regularly is key. Check your livestock and pets for any wounds. No matter how small, even something as tiny as a tick bite can attract New World screwworm flies.
Clean and treat all wounds immediately. Keep them covered and monitor them for any signs of infection or larvae. Early treatment is critical to stopping screwworm infestations. If you suspect an infestation, notify your local authority, PAHA, BLPA, or the Ministry of Agriculture right away. Quick action can prevent the spread and protect your livestock and community.
Together, we can protect our livestock industry by preventing New World screwworm from entering Belize. Stay vigilant, treat wounds, and report any signs to the proper authorities. Stay informed, stay protected.
Good evening. With your news simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7, I am Carmelita Perez. A second suspect has been detained in regard to the gruesome double murder that unfolded near the Crooked Tree Junction in the Belize district. As we told you yesterday, the bodies of 37-year-old Felix Martinez, a Belizean analyst manager, and his 40-year-old common-law wife, Adelita Gillette, a pharmaceutical manager, were discovered in a black Chevrolet Equinox SUV with 4 apparent bullet holes on the driver's side window. The vehicle was found abandoned at approximately 5:50 p.m. near mile 30 and 31 of the highway, parked at the side of the road near the Crooked Tree Junction. Police are looking at a financial dispute as a possible motive. Upon arrival at the scene of the crime, police discovered the lifeless bodies of the couple, both of whom sustained multiple gunshot wounds. Martinez was found slumped in the driver's side, while Gillette was reclined in the passenger's seat. We understand that investigators found several expended shells at the scene, as previously mentioned. According to Commissioner of Police Chester Williams, the murder might be tied to a quote-unquote financial issue that the couple had with one of the suspects, who might have allegedly also lured them to the location with the promise of paying them a substantial amount of cash that he owed them. Reports indicate that the dispute between the couple and a local car dealer date back to October of last year, when the couple paid the individual over $30,000 to have a vehicle shipped down to them from the U.S. After several weeks of waiting and no sign of getting their vehicle, the couple requested their money to be returned to them before they took legal action. Investigations have revealed that the area where the couple was found was not an area they would usually traverse. As such, investigators believe that they were lured there and later ambushed. General elections are scheduled this year anywhere between the months of March and June, and as Prime Minister John Briceño prepares to lead his party into what has been deemed a sure win for the PUP, he announced today that the upcoming elections will likely be his last. If elected, this will be Briceño's second term as Prime Minister of Belize. However, as a veteran politician with the People's United Party, he has maintained his seat in Orange Walk Central for over 30 years, also serving in various positions of government in the past. Citing family as his reason for leaving, Prime Minister Briceño says he is looking forward to completing another full term in office.
If you were to ask me now today, I would tell you that probably quite likely it's going to be my last election. At least that's my plan, that's my hope, and even within my family. But it's important that once you get elected, in God willing, we win the election, that I don't want to be in a position where people are saying, oh, he in the left, so we start to plan and connive and whatever, and I find that unacceptable. I have to continue to manage the party and more importantly the government the way that I have done with a firm hand, and to continue to show that I have full command of the party and the government and the ministers, and that's important, or else we have waste time, they fight and not think about the party or the government. So I do plan to stay in and to finish my term, and then I'm hoping that then I can go and spend time with Celeste.
When the time comes for him to transition back into private life, Prime Minister Briceño says the People's United Party will be left in capable hands.
I disagree with you in the sense that what has happened to the UDP, they had a very small bench. After Dean Barrow, who really could have taken over the UDP? I mean, honestly, when you took a bit, with all respect with Mr. Faber, he did it more. I mean, and one of the most important things is financing, how you finance the operations of the party. I do believe that the PUP is in a much better position. We have a deep bench, per se, if you want to say, from Francis Fonseca to Cordell Hyde, Anthony Mala, and Karim Musa. So we do have. Four? I'm sorry, no, I'm just giving names right now. I'm not by any, as I remember, I'm giving the names.
Alphabetical.
But not even alphabetical. I mean, I'm just naming them. I mean, when you look at somebody like Kevin Bernard, I'm very, very good. The chairman of the party, these are really good, strong people. Even Julius Espat, if he were to decide that he's something he want to do, we have a deep bench. So there's a lot from where to choose from, and but it's difficult for the party leader to say, okay, this is the one we want. It's for the party members, so they have to do their political work. Look, even within us, we had our problems. The then leadership of the party did not support me. You never thought I could have won, and I won in 1 week of campaigning. But it is why? Why? Because I did do my political work.
The Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security and Enterprise has confirmed the 5 cases of New World screwworm in Belize, one of which has been confirmed to be in a dog. The growing number of cases has raised major concerns for the country's cattle industry. The first case was reported back in December in the Toledo district. Since then, 4 more infections have been confirmed within the Criquesarco village and San Pedro Colombia village in the Toledo district. The Ministry of Agriculture has been working with a number of agencies to help combat the infection. Prime Minister John Briceño today addressed the matter, citing that it was expected for cases to grow once the first case was detected. However, the government continues to work with partner agencies to ensure that the situation does not significantly affect cattle export in Belize.
PM, a fifth case of screwworm has been reported here in Belize.
Well, it is expected, it's expected. It's not something, we never bring the screwworm. It's a stupid mistake that was done in Panama when they released the insects that become, it was not sterile, the ones that they released in error several years ago in Panama, and that's then started progressively coming to us, and I believe that they were not. I don't think they put enough effort to stop it back then, which could have, but now it's here. But we're trying our level best to control it as best as we possibly can. What's important is that we've already worked out a protocol with the Mexicans on how to export our cattle, because this is not something that, how could I put it, it like spread because it affects the meat in the sense that any kind of illness. What happens in this case is that if you see the animal with the screwworm, you cure it. And once you cure 5 days later, 6 days later, it's a healthy animal. You could take it. So the plan is that we have a corral area where we inspect the animals in Belize, and then it's gone over to Mexico, to the Mexican side, and they inspect it. If they see any animal with any signs of screwworm, then they send it back to Belize and we cure it. And 5-6 days later, we could send it back. That's the very same protocol that they've worked with the United States.
In a move to enhance Belize's sugar exports, Honorable Dr. Osman Martinez, the Minister of State for Foreign Trade, convened a pivotal meeting with representatives from Belize Sugar Industries, BSI-ASR, alongside the Directorate General for Foreign Trade, DGFT. The gathering focused on developing strategies to navigate the complexities of the regional sugar trade framework and boost Belize's presence in the Caribbean Community CARICOM market. Held Monday in Belmopan, the meeting delved into key areas such as optimizing the common external tariff set, suspension regime, and ensuring compliance with the revised Treaty of Tugaromas. Honorable Dr. Martinez, the Minister of State, spoke to us about that meeting.
Nonetheless, they are very demanding in terms of the quality of the product. Therefore, we are working along with ASR, BSI, and we are encouraging them to continue to increase or invest more in terms of equipment, not equipments, but equipment, and to see if we can increase that market share, especially on the type of sugar that pays premium prices within CARICOM. Well, the quality of the sugar is excellent. It's one of the best within the Caribbean. It's very competitive within the Latin American country, and globally, we're doing well. And a testimony of that is that we do have a very good market share in the UK market, and having ASR as a partner also brings a product reputation, because they do dominate the Domino brand of sugar, which is well known worldwide.
Both the minister and BSI representatives acknowledged the importance of strengthening Belize's competitive position within the CARICOM single market and economy, which is vital for the nation's economic sustainability.
So, for example, under the leadership of our Prime Minister, John Briceño, we have been able to identify climate finance through GCF, which is the Green Climate Fund. The Green Climate Fund headquarters is in Songdo, South Korea. And we managed to secure around $50 million to enhance the sugar production, and to have a direct impact within the farmers. And one of the impacts that it will have is that there will be replanting, and the variety of the cane that will be used, I understand that it will be more in line with climate resilient and climate adaptation methods, but also the cane, the product on its own. And also another component within that project is to look at irrigation and how we can have a more efficient and effective irrigation system so as to increase productivity or the yield per acre, which is one that has been decreasing as time goes by in the sugar industry. So when you
According to Martinez, the government is committed to work collaboratively with BSI and cane farmers to capitalize on export opportunities and ensure that Belize remains a key player in the regional sugar trade.
First, we have to start with the farmer and to support the farmer, access to finance, grants, subsidies, even the issues with getting the roads fixed on time, and to work with them, in order to enhance the science and technology within the industry, to move on to more of a climate resilient, climate adaptation method. So that is the level of the farmers. Then there is another level now where harvesting and transportation comes in place as well. So harvesting and transportation is key because it needs to be efficient, which means that every dollar, every cent that is spent, we have to make it more cost efficient. Okay, and then you have the factory, that is the ones who have the supply chain, both nationally and internationally, that needs to produce high quality products. Now, in terms of ASR, BSI, you also have to look at opportunities for them. How can we lead them into areas where maybe they can access funds such as climate finance, or how can they access finance at a low interest rate when globally the interest rate is pretty high? Okay, so government will come and just enable that environment for them so that we can be in a very good position. Maybe not for next year, but 2 or 3 years from now. The strategy has to have 3 main components, which is the short-term, medium-term, and long-term plan.
During the discussions, the DGFT emphasized the necessity of engaging with CARICOM's Monitoring Mechanism for Sugar, MMS, and the Technical Working Group, TWG. These bodies are essential for implementing technical standards and specifications that streamline the CET suspension process. Strengthening reporting and compliance mechanisms is expected to create a transparent and equitable trade environment that benefits all CARICOM member states. Sticking to the topic of the sugar industry, the rough condition of sugar roads in northern Belize has been a major setback for the entire industry since the start of the 2024-2025 crop season in late December. Continuous rains over the past few weeks have made repairs on these roads nearly impossible. Since the start of the crop, government has assured that funds have been allocated to make these repairs possible. However, weather conditions continue to be an issue. Today, Prime Minister John Briceño reiterated that position, confirming that close to $2 million have been made available for sugar roads. And while critics may cite the upcoming elections as the reason for this funding increase, PM Briceño says he is confident in the support of cane farmers despite recent challenges based solely on the work his government has done for the benefit of the entire industry.
We'll start with the last. Yes, we have the support of the cane farmers. We've done very well for them. If you remember, the previous government used to give them $400,000. What we have done, we have signed a contract in December, but we can't control the rain. It's been raining since October, virtually non-stop. And the only way we could fix these roads if it gets dry. And they know that. But of course, they're impatient, and I understand the impatience. What we have done, we have put in another $1 million on top of what we have already signed. So I think it's probably going to be about $2 million. We've never put that kind of money. So, and they know that, and they're working with us. But even the factory is not going well for them, because the sugar, the cane that we're bringing in has too much water. The water content is so high, so the tons of cane for a ton of sugar is way too high. If I use that, then people don't know what to talk about. Yes, so when usually we have about 9 tons of sugar of cane for 1 ton of sugar, we're about 18 tons of cane to 1 ton of sugar. The amount of mud that comes into the system, it's wrecking up the equipment of BSI. So who knows? Maybe we should have held back even a bit more for conditions to change.
Looking in the long term following this year of uncertainty for the industry, Prime Minister Briceño says his government is looking at alternative funding options to ensure that farmers can remain equitable amidst these troubling times.
Of course, I'm concerned, but it's something that is not of our making, but we'll have to deal with it when that time comes. And there are different ways, and one idea that we've been playing with, and we don't fully work it out, there's a lot of liquidity in the system, and so one of the challenges that our farmers they have is the issue of financing. They get these 1-year financing loans from the banks, and the interest rates are as much as high as 14%. Okay. So they're gouging them, and so every year they have to go and renew, and so like when you run and for the same spot, just to stay on the same spot, or sometimes even go backwards. One idea that we're looking at is that if we could provide the financing, we did provide financing through DFC, through I think it's CTV, I don't remember, or IDB, whereby financing for the farmers, but they were saying that and the condition was not to pay off loans, to do more loans. So if they can't afford more loans, the idea we're thinking about is maybe we could use this excess financing liquidity, pass it on to DFC, then DFC could go to the farmer, could go to DFC and say, okay, I owe $10,000. Okay, we can pay off the 10,000, maybe give you another 5,000 to be able to rebuild, but then give you maybe 3-4 years at a lower interest rate. So then it gives them breathing space to be able to continue to rebuild their cane fields. So,
coming up next, Belize set to unveil new currency notes featuring national heroes amid anticipation for enhanced security and modern design. Stay tuned.
Keeping our beautiful town of Orange Walk clean is everyone's responsibility. Use sturdy bags, tie them securely, and avoid placing sharp objects inside. By properly bagging your garbage, you're not only making it easier for our sanitation workers, but also helping to prevent litter and keep our environment clean. Let's work together to make a difference. For large disposals, contact us for an evaluation.
Corozal Cable Technician vacancy. Looking to join a growing and innovative company in the telecommunication industry? At Centar, we believe the work you do should be as empowering as the services we provide and deliver to our customers. Therefore, interested applicants from Corozal Dong wanting to join our team as a cable technician, Corozal branch, must possess, in addition to a high school diploma, the following qualifications: ability to handle basic installation tools, including a 30-feet ladder, ability to test, troubleshoot, and document test results, ability to install, terminate, and test coax cable and twisted pair cable, must have a valid driver's license and be able to travel, must be willing to work flexible hours, possess excellent customer skills. Understanding basic computer networking will be an asset. Interested applicants must submit a letter of application along with their resume, 2 letters of reference, and a police record no later than Monday, January 27, 2025. To Human Resources Manager, Center Communications Corporation Limited, 61 Queen Victoria Avenue, Orange Walk, Town.
Lord Michael Ashcroft, a prominent businessman and investor who has called Belize home since age 7, expressed his dissatisfaction with the current state of foreign investment in the country of Belize. The British-born multi-millionaire, known for his vast investments including ownership of the Belize Bank, now claims that intelligent investors should look elsewhere as Belize grapples with creating a fair and transparent environment for foreign capital. In an interview, Ashcroft emphasized that a lack of transparency and clarity in regulations is deterring potential foreign stakeholders, stating it gives the impression that investing in Belize could be an uphill battle. In a strong response, the Prime Minister John Briceño defended the government's efforts, emphasizing its commitment to fostering a conducive environment for investment. The Prime Minister underscored the importance of creating a stable and predictable investment climate, assuring stakeholders that the government is committed to pushing reforms aimed at clarity and accountability.
Michael Ashcroft has done very well in Belize, exceedingly well. If he wants to take his money elsewhere, then he should take it. It doesn't bother us for a moment. Foreign investment in Belize continues to increase. In 2024, we have record foreign investment. So it's his decision, it's his money, he could do what he wants with it. I think, I don't know what climate he talks. I think if he wants a climate where we bend over and give him whatever he wants, that's not going to happen in Belize. We got into government, we met with him, we negotiated with him hard, and I think we got a good deal in the settlement. It is unfortunate that then Prime Minister Barrow chose the route of litigation, cost us hundreds of millions of dollars, and I think that I come from a business background, and that you negotiate to try to settle, and that's what we did with him. The port was going nowhere because the port did not get clearance from the NEAC. Then he wanted to beat us into submission and took out endless ads, and Channel 5 and Channel 7 did very well during that time, with all of these ads. But that still did not beat us into submission. We are a sovereign nation, and we decide what is in the best interest. He had control of that port for many, many years, and that port was making between $12 and $14 million every year, and that money was supposedly paying some loan somewhere for something. I don't know what was done, because when you look at the assets of the port, or the conditions of the port, is deplorable, and so. His people, or him, or whosoever, felt that, we're not going to do nothing with the port, so we're going to force the government to give us what we want. We decided we're going to meet with him and said, if you don't want to do the investment, because you have an obligation on your license to be able to have a container port, not a cruise port. And so we decided it's in the best interest of this country to sit down with him and buy over the port. And that's what we did. I know he wants to take his money elsewhere, he's welcome to do so. He wants to sell out the Belize Bank, he's welcome to do so. I think people will be happy.
Is it though a
As the world watches the newly inaugurated U.S. President Donald Trump navigate his first months in office, uncertainties loom over international relations and foreign aid that could significantly impact countries like Belize. One of the most contentious themes of Trump's campaign was his promise to prioritize American interests, which includes keeping U.S. dollars at home and reconsidering foreign aid allocations. Among the programs potentially affected is the Millennium Challenge Corporation, MCC, which last year approved a 5-year grant of $12 million for energy and education investments in Belize. With Trump's team signaling a shift towards reduced foreign aid, concerns have arisen about the fate of this critical funding. But according to Prime Minister John Briceño, the MCC funding has already been set aside and should not be affected by President Trump's moves.
Not really. We do not get a lot of financial assistance from the United States. What we just was we were awarded and signed a compact with the Millennium Challenge Corporation, the MCC. The MCC is a private entity. It's not a government entity, but it's an entity that's funded by the U.S. government. So when they signed a compact with us, that money has already been set aside. So I believe we'll be fine, that we'll still have access to that money. Now, whether the MCC will get more funding for signing other compacts with other countries, well, I hope it could be worked out, because I think MCC is doing some good job. They've done a great job all over in different countries, and we're excited to continue to work with them on education and energy.
And when it comes to climate change, President Donald Trump is withdrawing the United States from the Paris Agreement again. Under the International Climate Accord, first negotiated in 2015, countries around the world agreed to cut greenhouse gas emissions in an effort to limit global warming and forestall the worst impacts of climate change. Trump has argued the agreement imposes unfair burdens on the American economy, and he withdrew the U.S. during his first term in office. The U.S. officially rejoined under President Joe Biden in 2021. On Monday, Trump started the process over again, signing an order on stage before supporters at the Capital One Arena just hours after taking office. Today, we asked Honorable Dr. Osman Martinez, the Minister of State for Foreign Trade, what the withdrawal means for Belize.
I am not surprised by what President Donald Trump has done in removing himself from the Paris Agreement, which he did it under his previous mandate. But at the same time, yes, it will have a certain level of impact because the United States is one of the contributors to GCF and the Adaptation Fund. But I think this is where we need to put the proper structures in place, like having a project preparation facility unit within CARICOM so that they can lend that support to all the nations. Once we have the Caribbean nations, so once we have that in place, it will definitely help us. We do respect President Trump's decision, but we also would, it's something that we would want the United States to. We would love to have the United States support at all time. And just to give you an example, when again under the leadership of Prime Minister Briceño, we went and we negotiated the IDA, which is the International Development Association, which is an arm of the World Bank. And the United States was very supportive. Hence, hence we managed to become eligible to that program. But we had the support of the United States. So when it comes to climate resilience, we will always welcome, and it's of great help to have the support of the United States.
Starlink International has taken a significant step towards establishing internet service in Belize with the local buildup of its Starlink infrastructure. The company aims to provide both fixed and mobile broadband internet across the country, signaling a new era of connectivity for Belizeans. However, Starlink's aspirations have encountered regulatory challenges as the Public Utilities Commission, PUC, has yet to grant the necessary certification. In a statement today, Prime Minister John Briceño addressed the ongoing situation regarding Starlink's application for a class license. While the PUC has acknowledged the application from Starlink International, it has not yet approved it, instead outlining specific conditions that must be met before the company can operate legally in the country.
Well, what has happened is that, remember, we Belize, our citizens have made an investment of over $610 million in BTL, and we need to try to find how we find that balance. We also have another telecom. We have the cables providers, and it will be the competition. We can't fight this the wealthiest man on earth. So we have been encouraging Starlink to get to have resellers, work with BTL, work with Smart, work with the cable companies, but they want it all. They want it all, and we can't allow that. And many countries have had many problems by allowing Starlink to just come in an open competition because they've been running out many companies out of the politics. So what we have been doing, what we have, the PUC's position, which I support, is to say, whilst we're not giving them an open license per se, we would allow that a citizen would come and say, yes, I want. We've been doing that forever. That we want a satellite dish or whatever. Back then, you get a license and a permit to be able to do that. So what they're saying, if you come and you are living deep in the bush, and then you do not have access to this to internet services, and you want to bring it in, they will approve it. So I think that the best compromise we could have.
But then are you
PUC has urged all existing Starlink users in Belize to register their devices within the next 60 days through the PUC Spectrum Online Center. This registration is crucial as it will help establish the current user base and aid in the effective regulation of Starlink's operations in the country. In a significant development for the Belizean judiciary, CTV3 News has confirmed that Magistrate Deborah Rogers has been appointed as the new Chief Magistrate of the country. This announcement comes through a letter from the Judicial and Legal Services Commission dated January 2025, which officially informs Rogers of her promotion to the esteemed position effective March 21st, 2025. Rogers replaces Jayani Wegadabalka, who after serving just under a year in the role has been unseated. Wegadabalka, who hails from Sri Lanka, brought her unique perspective to the judiciary, but the transition to Rogers marks a pivotal moment in Belize's legal landscape. This change in leadership has sparked conversation about the increasing involvement of women in key positions within Belize's judicial system. Deborah Rogers, a distinguished figure in the Karuzal community, is recognized for her commitment to justice and her exemplary service as a magistrate. CTV3 News extends heartfelt congratulations to Chief Magistrate Deborah Rogers on her new role. After much anticipation, Belizeans will get a first glimpse of the country's new currency notes later this week. The Central Bank of Belize is set to unveil the new bills, which will feature images of two of Belize's most prominent national heroes, George Cato Price and Philip Golson. The new banknotes, which will come in denominations of $2, $5, $10, $20, $50, and $100, boast modern designs and include enhanced security features to prevent counterfeiting.
We've seen them before, and so I know what to expect. It's a really beautiful note, and we've been using our two national heroes, George Price and Philip Golson, and we have them in different denominations. It's a more modern and with more features to prevent counterfeit in it. And so I think it's something that Belizeans are going to accept and to see, it's our people are on the note, and I know some people are saying, well, it doesn't have the Queen. Well, one, the Queen is dead. And that has nothing to do with whether the Belize dollar has its strength. Is based on our economy, based on the amount of U.S. reserves that we carry. It's not the pound, what is the U.S. dollars.
The official unveiling of the new notes will be done by the Central Bank on Thursday. Belizeans are reminded that despite the new design, the value of the notes will not be affected in any way. There is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
Ladyville Cable Technician vacancy. Looking to join a growing and innovative company in the telecommunication industry? At Centaur, we believe the work you do should be as empowering as the services we provide and deliver to our customers. Therefore, interested applicants from Ladyville wanting to join our team as a cable technician, Ladyville branch, must possess, in addition to a high school diploma, the following qualifications: ability to handle basic installation tools, including a 30-feet ladder, ability to test, troubleshoot, and document test results, ability to install and terminate and test coax cables and twisted pair cable, must have a valid driver license A and be able to travel, must be willing to work flexible hours, possess excellent customer service skills. Understanding basic computer networking will be an asset. Interested applicants may submit a letter of application along with their resume and 2 letters of reference and a police record no later than Monday, January 27, 2025 to Human Resources Manager, Center Communications Corporations Limited, 61 Queen Victoria Avenue, Orange Walk Town.
In a bold move on his first day in office, President Donald Trump has signed an executive order that initiates the United States withdrawal from the World Health Organization. The decision marks a significant shift in the U.S. stance towards global health governance, a move that Trump justifies by claiming that the nation has not received its fair share from the organization despite contributing 18% of its annual budget, totaling over $1 billion. The executive order points to the WHO's alleged mishandling of the COVID-19 pandemic, which first emerged in Wuhan, China, in late 2019. The president's statement criticized the organization for its management of the crisis, asserting that it failed to act swiftly and effectively in response to the outbreak that has since claimed millions of lives worldwide. In response to the executive order, Prime Minister John Briceño spoke to reporters, emphasizing the importance of global health collaboration.
Back to just international politics with Trump, they recently decided to at least made a suggestion that they will part ways from the World Health Organization. For you, what's your stance on that? Believe as a member.
Well, he has already done. He has already signed an executive order getting the United States out of WHO. I have no idea why you do such thing. The World Health Organization is it's one of they do a lot of good in this world, especially in countries that need help when it comes to the health challenges and diseases and so forth. I don't know his reasoning. It doesn't make sense. But again, they're a sovereign nation and they decide what they want. It's unfortunate, just like with the Paris Agreement that he's already said he's going to sign out. I mean, if he can't see that we have climate change upon us, then he never will. And it's short-sighted because now when you look at the record freezing that you have in the United States, the floodings, the hurricanes, especially when it hits in the Gulf of Mexico, and I stress Mexico, the Gulf of Mexico, and New Orleans and that area, Louisiana, Houston, or Texas and Florida, then I think again it's short term on them. It's unfortunate, and then we, Belize, and small countries like us pay the price.
The World Health Organization operates with an annual budget of approximately $6.8 billion, and the U.S. withdrawal could severely impact its ability to respond to global health crises, especially in the wake of the ongoing pandemic. Experts warn that the decision may destabilize international health efforts and complicate response strategies for future outbreaks. The Association of Beneficiaries and Retired Public Officers held a press conference to address ongoing grievances with the government. Despite previous protests and repeated compromise from GOB, beneficiaries of the public sector's Workers' Trust Fund have yet to see any changes regarding to the dissolution of the fund and the subsequent compensation of its beneficiaries.
No, basically what happened in 1995 is that the government had difficulties in meeting their financial obligations, and so they turned to public officers and the unions to help them, to bail them out, so to speak. And so what they did really was to defer the increments of public officers that they get on an annual basis, and that was how they were able to balance the budget, so to speak. But for that, they made a commitment as well to invest the funds that would have been saved, and they did by issuing to the unions shares in BTL. Those shares are valued at a certain amount of money, and in fact they issued at the time 480,000 shares to public officers. And over the years, those were worth at the time $2.4 million worth. That was invested, and over the years, it has now grown to over $10 million. And those are the exact funds now that are now, with that funds, they are now able to pay the amount that they actually withheld from public officers.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems that they promised to create this trust, and then from this trust you all will get projects from it. But then that was never defined, and so now you're all saying that you want the money instead of the projects.
Well, that was in fact a project because it generated interest, which is now be able to, which you can now use to pay whatever liability was created. You know, so it was in effect, and that's perhaps one of the problems with what happened, because really and truly the trust itself or the fund itself or the investment in BTL was in fact a project which is now able to create to pay the liability that was created. Well, the protector should be the person in charge, but he has not taken charge. That's what I was saying today, because really and truly under the court case, the government was one of the things that came out of the court case that was held some years ago was that the government be named as settler of the trust. With the settler now being the government, he now has the authority to be able to name a protector for the trust. Because the protector was at first with the unions, and so now it's now moved back to where it ought to be, which is the government. And the government has named now a protector. That protector has not acted the way we believe it should act, but we are here today because we want him to act, and we're going to make him act. And he can act. He has authority according to the law.
So who is that person exactly?
It was who's the financial secretary. Yeah.
Established by the government of Belize between 1995 and 1997, the trust fund was intended to compensate public sector workers affected by a salary increment freeze. However, nearly 30 years later, many beneficiaries are still waiting for their payouts, with some having passed away during this lengthy wait.
Yes, because there is a list of beneficiaries, but the problem is that we are not certain that everybody who should be a beneficiary is named on the list. And so we want to ensure that whenever the final list is published, those persons who are entitled should be on the list.
You said that you're expecting how many to be on the list?
About 7,000 persons to be on the list. Yeah.
All right. So obviously there will be specific criteria, right? You would have to have been working during the period 95 to 97 and been directly directly affected by the wage freeze. So those who have been retrenched would not come, correct? Because some of them, I think you said some of them may have been rehired, so they wouldn't necessarily have been affected in that way.
Well, my understanding is that the persons who are retrenched were compensated. Were compensated already for what they have gotten.
And in the case of those who have died, I think you have said about 240 persons have died.
Yes.
They would be their next of kin, so to speak, their family members.
That is correct. We are working to make sure that happens. Because they
were not originally included, correct?
Well, they were included, but they never not been erased from the list now. They have not been erased, and so we want to have that restored so that they can get the beneficiaries can get the benefits. You know?
The association's frustration extends beyond the government to other unions who they say have failed to support their cause.
But what has happened, in fact, to the BNTU and the PSU, who you think would be behind something like this?
Well, as I said, they are the persons who are named in the trust document, and they are the ones who actually named the trustees of the current trust. You know, so it's unfortunate that they don't see the need to align themselves with union principles, because union principles really what the trust is doing basically is to implement projects which they believe are in the interest of beneficiaries. But beneficiaries are saying they don't want projects, they want their funds.
You have not been properly consulted.
Yes, exactly right. They want their funds.
In an unexpected twist, Lisbeth Castillo, interim vice president of the ABRPO, expressed a belief that Prime Minister Briceño may desire to dissolve the trust, but also acknowledge potential setbacks in doing so.
Everybody had those little videos that they could see. He and I had conversations, and we had a long video of him promising. It's not now that somebody is saying the PM said. You could actually hear him sing. And he did promise, so we were able to corner him on that premise there. I want to say that even though I personally, and I speak for myself, think that even though they have not made good on their promises to our satisfaction, I really think that he wants to dissolve the trust. The only thing that bothers me is that obviously the Prime Minister and his representatives have not given this trust much thought because of some of the things they bring to the table. And you will hear, right, as Merlin is right was saying, the unions as well. So they have not given much thought, and that was very evident at our first meeting. The Prime Minister actually said to us, thinking we would be elated and jumping into the sky, that he wanted to dissolve the trust in 30 days. I had to tell him, Mr. Prime Minister, wait. I'm happy to hear that, but please, that is totally impossible. Absolutely impossible. So it showed from the beginning not much thought was given to what we had before us.
The government of Belize has yet to respond to the concerns raised during the press conference. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Thursday, January 23rd, here on CTV3 News and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at www.ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/CTV3BelizeNews or our YouTube channel at CTV3 News BZ. From all of us here at CTV3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.